Hello, and what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Psycho-Synopsis. I am Master of the TDS, and I am joined by my lovely wife,
WritingRaven. Now let's get into it.
Thelonious.
Perfect. Disney dropped a teaser image and announced it is delaying the release of its live-action Snow White movie starring Rachel Zegler by a year from March 22nd, 2024 to March 21st, 2025.
Gee, I wonder why.
Now, that's not all they did.
Mm-hmm.
They also dropped an image as like a promotional image. And as you can see, it has the 7 dwarves in it.
7 CGI dwarves that are terrifying to look at and should have stayed cartoons.
I agree. Now, a lot of people were confused by this because they had made it very clear that they weren't necessarily going to use dwarves, and we saw the, 7 Seattle baristas, or whatever you want to call them.
The bandits.
And it was basically said that the love interest was going to be one of the bandits, and that they were going to use bandits and magical creatures instead of dwarves or whatever. Apparently, from what I've been told, some people are saying that this is a result of backlash and they added them in. I don't think that's true.
Other people are saying that they're going to have dwarves and bandits, which just seems weird. Because then what's the huntsman?
I don't know. What I will say is this. I think they always intended to use dwarves like this if they were going to use dwarves at all. Now, whether or not they were planning to use dwarves all along or they changed it, I don't know. But this is the way that they could do dwarves without being offensive.
Yeah, but what about the 7 dwarf actors they fired?
They didn't hire them.
Oh, yeah, good point.
Peter Dinklage came out against the whole thing, and they said they were going to do, magical creatures instead of dwarves. If your magical creatures are CGI dwarf-like monstrosities like the ones we see here...
You succeeded.
I mean, yeah, they're not gonna get people offended in the same way, but...
They're still terrifying.
I mean, if your goal was to give kids nightmares, you probably succeeded with that too.
And your Snow White claims to have been given nightmares from the Snow White ride, so, congratulations, you're making another generation terrified.
Rachel Zegler has also come out and had a little bit of a response to the backlash, basically in an indirect way saying that she gets the backlash that she does because she's outspoken as a Latina. Victim
mentality on full display.
From the minute Rachel Zegler was announced as Snow White, she literally made a tweet that, I'm not going to bleach my skin. If you really felt that you were right for the role and that you didn't have anything against the character, there was no reason to put out a tweet like that.
Mm-hmm.
You made your own bed. It's time for you to lie in it. This looks horrendous. I'm not surprised that Disney's pushing it back. It probably is going to get some major reshoots.
Absolutely, and hopefully some new casting, because they really need to recast their Snow White, who isn't even white!
They're not going to do that.
Sigh.
Because at this point, imagine the backlash they would get if they recast her now.
Yes, but imagine the praise they would get if they do.
They wouldn't. You see, at this point, they're in too deep with this stuff. If they changed it, they would get more backlash from people who are the weird Rachel Zegler stans on Twitter, or people screaming about representation or whatever. They literally cannot change it now. Because Rachel Zegler is the kind of person who would make a big fuss about it too.
True. They need to just Batgirl this whole movie.
Yeah. A lot of people are saying that they don't even think this is going to come out. I think it will. What my prediction is, there's a very good possibility if more comes out about this or whatever, that they're going to instead just drop it on Disney+.
I can see that.
Not saying that's for certain, but if I was Disney, that's what I would do. If the movie wasn't going to be good or whatever, it costs a lot of money and you can't memory hole it, just drop it on Disney+. No one would be the wiser.
Yeah, but it would also still make them lose subs.
Well, I think they've already succeeded in that venture, but again, Disney gonna Disney. Not surprising, these dwarves look hideous, and you didn't offend dwarf people, but you've offended all of our eyes.
No kidding.
I am inevitable. There will always be more. Finished my work.
This is just the beginning.
You serious?
A new rumor is claiming the Marvels received a last-second update to its post-credits teaser to include a new scene that features Disney franchise's first proper recognition of Fox's previous X-Men film series.
They are really trying to make people think it's good.
Now, spoiler alert for anybody who even cares about this movie, which is not many people given from the interaction on social media and the fact that it's got the lowest pre-order of tickets for any Marvel movie ever.
Why would anyone even want to pre-order tickets for this?
Even with people pre-ordering tickets, their demographic they're marketing to, they weren't even able to get it past. It's the lowest grossing for pre-order tickets.
And it'd probably be even less grossing for when it actually comes out.
Yeah. So, as I said, spoilers for anybody who cares. Basically, at the end of the film, what we've been told is that Monica Rambeau will end up sacrificing herself to, like, fix the universe or whatever. And she'll end up not dying, but, like, being trapped in another universe, and she'll wake up, and her mother will be alive, and Beast will be there. And he'll basically say something along the lines of, oh, we should talk to Professor X about this. Basically making the Fox X-Men canon, but also the reason they do this, or they would do this, is because they're desperate to get people to go to this movie.
Oh yeah, you think? I mean, just look at the trailer they most recently put out. They literally have scenes from Endgame to make people think that it's connected to Endgame, even though we all know it's not, and we all are just laughing in their face.
Captain Marvel, the movie, was sandwiched between two of the biggest movies in the MCU. But the most important thing to take away from this is it's not that, oh, people just hate Captain Marvel. That's not the reason this isn't going to do well. The reason this isn't going to do well, the main reason, is because two of the characters are literally not ever been featured in a movie before, an MCU movie. You have to watch a bunch of TV shows to understand who they are.
Mm-hmm.
And people argue, oh, well, you had to do that with the comics. This is different. The MCU was always a cinematic brand. When you change it, if you had started off that way, maybe it would have worked.
Perhaps.
But if you change it, people aren't going to see it. So people don't know who these people are. Ms. Marvel was the lowest viewed show on Disney+.
Really? I thought that was She-Hulk.
No, Ms. Marvel was.
Oh, yeah.
So much so that they had to air it on ABC for a while.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
And it didn't do any better there either.
Suckers.
Monica Rambeau gets her powers, whatever, from
WandaVision.
From WandaVision. So you have to watch those two shows to know who they are. And then you have to watch Secret Invasion to catch up with Nick Fury. So those are 3 shows that you now have to watch in order to understand what's happening here.
Sounds like a hassle.
Even if people didn't like Brie Larson's Captain Marvel, it's just, it's telling that people aren't going to watch this stuff. They don't have an interest. The shows have been low quality, and because they've been low quality, not a lot of people have watched them because they're not good.
You think?
Making an X-Men appear at the end and going, look, here's some keys, dingle, 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 come watch the movie. First off, not gonna work. Second off, let's say somebody did want to see this scene. You don't think within a couple days of the Marvels being released, it won't be leaked on YouTube, the end credit scene?
Those things are always leaked on YouTube. Henry Cavill's cameo at the end of Black Adam got leaked onto YouTube. So they're going to fail. They are really trying to save this movie, but it is going to fail miserably. And I'm looking forward to it. Grabbing the ghost popcorn. Yum, 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 yum.
They're saying that this movie is not even going to gross over 250 million, like, total. But I would not be surprised if it's either a little lower than that or possibly higher depending on what Disney does. Because I feel like Disney's going to try their best. Their marketing has been a lot. They're going to try to push this movie to the top. And the problem is, it was never going to float.
No. Not to mention all the people who are going to go see it just to review it, which I don't understand the point of, but I digress.
Why are they replacing every single character with someone who is diverse? No, please, Kathleen Kennedy, stop ruining everything. Put another gay diverse woman in it. Make it more fucking lit.
The special, South Park Joining the Panderverse, takes many shots at Disney and Lucasfilm, with Cartman afraid Disney will replace him with a diverse woman complaining about the patriarchy.
Oh, it was glorious.
So if you haven't seen this already, Raven and I have both watched it fully. Mm-hmm. It's pretty good. It takes shots at both sides, as South Park is known to do.
Yes, but it does it in a hilarious way that actually made us laugh.
Yeah, and also it takes a lot of shots at Disney, in particular Kathleen Kennedy.
No, Kathleen Kennedy, stop ruining everything!
And it comes up with this, premise of using the Pander Stone, where they overused a stone that could remake movies, but appealing to diverse group of people because it just, recasts things or whatever. And the more backlash she received, the more she used the Pander Stone until it became unstable.
And basically opened a portal to a universe in which a really lame version of Kathleen Kennedy comes through. They trade places, and put another diverse woman in it! Make it more lame! It's just too funny.
Now, a lot of people are saying, hey, Cartman's supposed to be you guys, and you're all terrible, whatever. We know that.
That's what makes it funny!
It is what makes it funny, but also, again, it's very clear to see which side this special was on. It's very clear. Mm-hmm. But it does make some good points with, Cartman being afraid of Kathleen Kennedy hiding under his bed, and, but it takes shots at Hollywood and at Disney, and I do think this is a little late. I think that if this was done a couple years ago, it would have been a lot more impactful. But I think this is funny because I am curious how Disney is going to respond to this, because they will.
I have heard that they're already going to sue.
They were already suing for something else.
Oh, really? Because yesterday I saw something that they're suing over this.
They're not suing over this. They were already suing beforehand over something else, and this is not helping the matter. But they really can't do much here because, again, it's complicated. But the thing is, this is something that allowed both sides to laugh, but instead of taking it as an opportunity to kind of find common ground and work through our differences, it's going to be used as an excuse to look at the bigots and the chuds who are Cartman. You forget that everything gets blamed on Kathleen Kennedy, and even afterwards when they reconcile, which was very shoehorned in to me, in the end, Kathleen Kennedy, the real one, comes back and goes to Bob Iger, we're going to make new content, original content, and we're not going to pander anymore. And Bob Iger goes, yeah, that's nice, Kenny, wink, wink, wink. You can't tell me which side they're not on there. That they're definitely against Disney.
Yeah. All hail South Park!
The important thing to take away from this is that a lot of people who are normies, the majority of people who watch things, are going to see this, and this name drops a lot of people in charge of Disney, which these people would not have known about because they don't keep track of this kind of stuff like we do.
Yeah, so it'll be an eye-opener for them, at least, and hopefully they got a good laugh out of it as well.
Do I think anything major from Disney is going to change because of this? No. If anything, we're going to see more because they just don't seem to get it. But I think it's important that this is an opportunity for us to laugh. This is an opportunity to know, hey, we're not just crazy. We're not just whatever. Not that we ever thought that we were crazy, at least in the bad sense. I think everybody's a little crazy, to be honest.
Well, yeah, the world is crazy. What even is normal anymore?
But people who don't or are aware of the culture war and aren't necessarily
part of it,
we're now been validated here. This is not something we're just noticing and we're in vocal minority. We're not. And we've always known this, but it took something like this to get more people to wake up, and I think this will get people to wake up. Whether it's going to have wide sweeping consequences, I don't think so. I think in a couple months people will barely remember this and it'll be a fond memory.
Definitely fond, because I'm still laughing at it and I'll probably keep laughing at it for a while.
Yeah, but it's not going to be like a cultural talking point. It's not going to be, look, here's we're winning. I don't think that's the case necessarily. We'll have to see.
Of course, it's South Park.
Therapy is a valuable tool to help you understand yourself.
And now it's time for the diagnosis of the week.
Where we diagnose the week with a mental illness.
Because someone has to.
And we have an interesting diagnosis for you this week.
Do tell.
The diagnosis for this week is labile indifference.
Please explain.
Labile indifference, it's French, but it's defined as a paradoxical absence of psychological distress despite having a serious medical illness or symptoms related to a health condition. How does this apply to what we're doing here? Well, South Park is blatantly showing these people what's wrong, and they still don't see it.
They aren't changing Snow White, and they are pretending the backlash never happened.
The Marvels is trying to bring in fans by pretending it is linked to Endgame because they can't admit they know it will fail. This is how it relates to this. We see this quite a lot because these people, they act weirdly, but they refuse to accept it. And so this is kind of what I think fits this the best, and I think we'll probably see more of it, and that's why I think this is a great diagnosis for this week.
I agree.
That is all we have for this week. Let us know what you think in the comments below, and also make sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe with notifications on so you do not miss your weekly therapy session.
Or you will be charged.
Gothic Therapy, out.